I'm certain you've heard about it. People talking about how it's quite difficult to make money from farming. That's the experience of a lot of people. Actually, I've even heard it from farmers, you know. A lot of farmers talking about how it's difficult to make money from farming. Unfortunately, that's their experience. It's really sad that they find it difficult to make money from farming. I personally believe I've had a really good experience about making money from farming. It's not like I've always made money right from the start. There's a few projects I've done that have actually turned out to be really pathetic. I've lost a lot of money. But generally speaking, I think I've had a good experience because honestly, when I started out, I didn't have chicken houses like this, you know. Right now I have 2 chicken houses. I've managed to build myself a small house right down there. I've managed to do quite a number of projects, you know, the breeder farm. Speaking from my experience, it's actually very possible to literally mint money while farming. It's unfortunate that people have had very terrible experiences. But I think in today's video, I'm actually going to be sharing with you guys a basic layout of how to actually make money and get satisfactorily happy while farming. You see, when it comes to making money, the basics of making money are one of 2 things. Number 1, make money, and number 2, do not lose money. If you do those things, you're in business. If you're consistently making money and then losing that money, then of course you're going to be in losses. But if you keep making money, you don't lose money, and also master how to actually make money, then you're going to be in good business. Guys, this is my other chicken house right here. I think we should go in. This is actually a flock which has just started to lay recently. I think its production should be maybe around 40%, 50%. Let's go in and check it out. This is our entrance right here. We'll just dip our boots a little bit in here. Okay. All right, guys, so you can take a look at the birds. Take a look at their very beautiful red combs. Yeah. Very happy birds. Just take a look at them. Here we have their laying nests. We have some chickens inside there laying eggs. Okay, you can see them right there. Maybe a few of them have already started laying. For example, inside here I can already see an egg. If I picked it out, you can see it. So the birds are very beautifully laying. In the morning, we try not to disturb them because in the morning, that's when they lay most of the eggs. So if I can look inside there, take a look at that. You can see chickens inside there. Those chickens are laying eggs. Yeah. So these are literally my egg laying machines. These are the things that are making me rich. I've personally had a really good experience farming, as you can see with the chickens in the background. Yeah. So this is the 2nd chicken house on this farm, and I plan on building more chicken houses, you know, 2 more chicken houses. And the only reason I would be expanding is because it has been of good results to me. Yeah, it has been of good results to me. I have mastered and I have understood how to make money, and I have understood how to not lose money. So now when it comes to how to make money, there are usually 2 things involved in making money on the farm. Number 1 is the production side, because it's a farm, you have to produce something. And then number 2 is the sales and marketing, because you have to sell the things that are going to enable you to make money. So you have to concentrate and figure out how to do these 2 things really well for you to make money. So we shall start with the production side. Yeah. So when it comes to the production side, what you need to maximize is efficiency. You need to maximize making sure that you make as much of the product as possible. If you're producing passion fruits, you're making as many passion fruits as possible. If you're producing bananas, like right here, you can see this is a banana plantation that I have on this farm. You're producing as many bananas as possible. If you're producing chicks, like I do produce the old chicks, you're producing as many chicks as possible. So that's what you're going to concentrate on. So how do you make sure that you're concentrating on the production and getting the very best results of producing as much as possible? First thing is that you need to master the art of production, the technicalities that are involved in producing whatever you're going to be producing. Now you need to understand that it doesn't matter whether you're actually going to be doing this yourself physically or not. It doesn't matter. It's a core principle which is very important in ensuring that the end result is actually going to be a fine one, that you're going to maximize efficiency in production. Now you might be wondering, why should I master the art of doing whatever it needs to be done if I don't need to be doing it? It's because you need to make sure you're not being held ransom. You see, for me, for example, I'm doing chickens, and in all reality, these days I rarely, almost ever do anything inside the chicken house. I don't deal with the feed. I rarely do anything. Once in a while, I'll pass around, check on the chickens, you know, move inside, see if there's a few mistakes and things like that. But that's the purpose of why you need to master the art, so that the few times that you actually pass by, you can identify where the mistakes are. The idea is, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether it's raising chickens, whether it's growing mushrooms, or, you know, growing cattle. If you know the technicality of the work, then it's easy for you to understand and be able to tell if there is a mistake that has been made by the people. Yeah, so you need to spend as much time as possible in reading, in understanding things, in doing as much research as possible, especially at the beginning, so that later on in the future, when you actually start doing the things, if there are mistakes that are being made, you can identify them and correct them and ensure that you're not being held ransom. Yeah, if you don't understand what you're doing, then you're literally at the mercy of whoever the expert is. Yeah, if the expert knows that you know nothing about it, then it's difficult for you to let them go if you even later on identify that probably they are stealing from you or they are doing things wrongly. Yeah, so you need to make sure that you understand the tactical bit. Yeah, understand and master the art of actually producing whatever you're supposed to be producing. So those right there are the chicken houses, as you can see, and right here, the guys decided to, well, make a nursery bed, as you can see. You can see there's a nursery bed and there's a few vegetables growing. I think it's eggplants in here and kale. This is another one. One of the dogs around keeps digging around. As you can see, you see the place with the stones? The dog was digging around, and as you can see on top here, the dogs keep stepping. But the crops have actually started germinating just a little bit. And just like we do have a banana plantation right here, the guys actually decided to plant some crops around, you know, in the space we have, just to make sure we don't just waste it. So as you can see here, we have some eggplants. Yeah, the guys planted eggplants. I'm not the biggest lover of this type of eggplants. Yeah, honestly, don't think I really love it. But the guys planted it around, so that means they can supplement their own food. As you can see right here, they have another vegetable. I think this one has overgrown. It has put on pods. So I can imagine the goal is to, you know, transplant these, to use these seeds and plant and have another garden of this. Yeah. So then they can, you know, grow their own food in the area. And this is independent of me. Yeah. The guys sleep in that house right there with their manager. This they did totally independent of me. I didn't suggest nothing. I just come and find the guys doing this. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I love that ability to, you know, think and become creative and come up with different alternatives. And therein is the second thing that comes in when it comes to, you know, the production side. Management, yeah? Management of the farm is very, very important. It's important that you have the right management on the farm. If you have terrible management on the farm, people who don't know how to run the farm, of course, you're not going to be present on the farm full time. Then the farm is going to fail. It's certainly going to fail because people are either going to start stealing from you. It doesn't matter how well you know things. If there's no one to manage to make sure things are being done properly, then the farm is going to fail. Actually, you can actually set in place a proper management system, which if followed, ensures that the farm is literally fail-proof. Now, this is something that I'm going to be talking about on the Farm Up Academy. Yeah, I'm going to be sharing it on the Farm Academy when it comes up in April. So when it comes out, make sure that you join the Farm Up Academy, because this is literally a blueprint for any business. This you can implement on your farm. It doesn't matter the kind of farm, and it will ensure that your farm is fail-proof. And you can use it to replicate on any kind of farm, wherever, you know, you could open 10, 15 branches of your farm and they would all succeed because of this management style, one that I've actually implemented. The advantage is that I can literally be away from this farm for 2 months and I'm certain that everything is running properly. It's not like I hired experts. Literally, all the guys I hired, the guys on this farm are literally all novices. All of them, guys. When I tell you novices, I mean novices. None of them had been working on a farm before. All the guys working in the chicken houses. The one guy who is the manager, I got from the breeder farm, but even when he was at the breeder farm, he came as a novice. He hadn't worked in poultry houses. He wasn't an expert, you get? But the guys are literally able to run everything because there is a particular system. So you need to make sure that your management is top-notch. If you figure out the management, that's also being on your way to ensuring that your production gets you the best results. Take a look at this. This is manure that we got from the chicken house. As you can see it right here, we've placed it inside the plantation so that it first decomposes before we can spread it inside the banana. We occasionally get it from the chicken houses, especially from the top floor, because as you can see the top floor right there, we built it and supported it using timber, and so we don't want it to get too heavy. Once the manure gets too heavy inside there, we reduce it because we want it to get too heavy and replace it with wood shavings. And here you can see that we have some pumpkins inside the plantation. I think the guys will need to control it because I don't want the entire plantation covered with pumpkins. As you can see, there's a lot of pumpkins in all the places. Yeah, maybe they'll need to check it to ensure that it's not too much. I don't want the entire plantation covered with pumpkins. Yeah, so as you can see, we have quite a bunch of bananas coming up right there. There are quite many. You have another one right there. I don't know if you can see it here. Right there, you know, right here. That's another one. That's another one right there. And another one in the distance right there. So we have quite a number of bananas. Yeah, very soon we shall be eating a lot of bananas. So the third thing to ensure that your production is always on point is never get complacent. Never get complacent. You need to make sure that you control diseases on the farm. And the thing about diseases on farms is that it's all about control. It's just like in human beings. I keep telling people. You see, the thing with us human beings is that we've mastered the art of preventing diseases. Yeah, you need to make sure that you prevent and control diseases. Literally, prevent entry of diseases onto the farm. There is that old saying of prevention is better than cure. That's what works. You can imagine, you know, when we have children, we vaccinate them. I think in humans we usually call it immunization. We immunize the children using vaccines. You know, you'll do particular things. Make sure that the home is clean, make sure that all the things that they use to feed on are cleaned, simply to make sure that you don't introduce a disease into the child. Something when it comes to a farm, yeah, instead of always trying to make sure that you're treating diseases, make sure that you prevent diseases from being introduced on the farm. And how do you do that? By making sure that there are the right measures on the farm. Don't just allow anyone to come onto the farm. I'm sure every time I show you guys around the farm and you see the people who are working around the farm, they're always wearing uniforms. That's not a mistake, yeah? The guys always wear uniforms because we don't want the uniforms to get contacted with the outside. If they're going outside, they leave the uniforms. If they're still working and doing farm work and they're around, they'll put on the uniforms. We make sure that it's only uniforms that come into the contact with animals. The place is fenced, you understand? So don't be complacent. You need to make sure that you prevent introduction of diseases on the farm, and that will ensure that your production is top-notch. Remember, you want to produce as much as possible. That's the only way you can get rich, through the production side. All right, now you're done with the production side. The second thing you need to understand very well if you're going to become rich and mint money is the sales. Yeah, the sales. Remember, we are still talking about making money. You need to make money. So you need to understand the sales. If you understand the sales section, you're going to make sure that you make money. So how do you understand the sales side? Number one, you need to understand the market very well. Understand the market and play by the rules of the market very well. Yeah, if you're in a place where people don't buy eggs, for example, don't start keeping chickens. Of course, you're just going to struggle and hustle making money from your poultry business. If you're in a place that is full of a Muslim population, don't rear pigs. That would be very stupid of you. You know, people in your area don't consume pigs because the hugest percentage is a Muslim population, and there you are just rearing pigs. Yeah, so understand where you are. Play by the rules of the market. Make sure you implement the rules of the market, and you're going to be well on the way for you making money. But the second thing about understanding the market is that you need to make sure that you throw the middlemen away. Kick the middlemen out as much as possible. Involve as few middlemen in the business as possible. If you involve middlemen in as little of the business as possible, you're going to ensure that you get the best results, you get the very best margins on the farm, because middlemen are very ruthless for making sure that you get very little profit. They will literally take all the money you make, and you're literally left with just enough for you to survive on the farm and not to be able to grow rich and expand and actually give a very good testimony. Now that we've talked about making money, the opposite end of the coin is don't lose money. And there are two main ways in which you can lose money on the farm. Number one is through theft, and number two is through poor planning. So how do you deal with theft on the farm? First, you need to understand exactly what you're doing. If you understand what you're doing, it becomes difficult for people to steal from you. If you don't understand what you're doing, people can steal from you and you won't even know that they are stealing from you. I've had this from so many people around the farm. So many people, you know, they will steal from the farm and you won't even know. I'll give you an example. I once had a friend, she sold her flock, you know, she was off laying her flock because she believed that the flock was not laying well. You understand? The flock had been raised and she believed that it wasn't laying well. A flock that should have been at around 90% production was only giving her about 60% production. So she decided to sell the birds. On the day of selling the birds, counting the birds, she actually noticed that the birds were way less than what she expected. The boys had been stealing the birds from the flock, and in all reality, the flock was actually laying properly, but the birds were just few in number, so the percentage was all right, but the absolute number was wrong. So if only she understood the entire business, she would have suspected, because she would have been like, well, the birds are okay, you know, the birds don't look sick, they don't look ill, nothing is wrong with the birds. How can it be that they're not producing well? If the percentage is not okay, that maybe one of the problems is that we're actually working with the wrong number. Then she would have counted those birds and she would have noticed that the birds are not enough, and then she would have understood that people were stealing from her. So you need to understand the business. If you don't understand the business and you don't understand what is involved, it makes it very easy for people to steal from you. Second of all, make sure that you do proper monitoring. Yeah, you need to do proper monitoring. Those are just measures that will reduce the theft. Number one, have the fence, have cameras around the farm, make sure that people are consistently giving you reports, you know, well updated reports each and every day. Make sure that you do spot checks, you know, count the animals. If it's goats, count them occasionally. They're giving you reports every time a kid is produced. They need to make sure that they give you a report. Come and check them around. You know, if they tell you we have, let's say, 50 goats, come the next day and come and confirm whether it's actually 50 goats or they are lying. So you need to make sure that you do consistent monitoring, do spot checks to make sure that the guys are not stealing from you. Number three, you need to have a good team. If you have a proper management team that actually understands why they are there and what they are doing, they won't steal from you, because their goal is also to ensure that the farm succeeds. If the farm succeeds, then they are also succeeding and getting the best results. So you need to make sure that you have a proper team on the farm. And rule number 4 is have zero tolerance to theft. Zero tolerance. I always tell the people I work with when I hire them that I have zero tolerance to theft. If I find out that you've been stealing from me, I'm going to arrest you and you're going to face the full force of the law. I won't just dismiss you. Yeah, you're going to face the full force of the law. So you need to make sure that you have zero tolerance to theft. People need to understand that with you, theft is not acceptable. The other way you can lose money on the farm is through poor planning. If you don't plan properly for your farm, inevitably you're going to lose money. Because, for example, if for me, I don't buy feeds when the price of feeds is low, and then I just wait to buy when the price of feeds goes up, that means I'm going to lose money. You need to understand how planning works. Yeah, you need to make sure that you plan very well, understand when you can buy things at a lower cost and when you can buy things at a higher cost, to make sure that you don't lose money, you don't make losses simply because you didn't plan properly. So you need to make sure that you plan properly. If you don't plan properly, you can easily lose money. And then finally, one of the easiest ways of actually failing in your business and not making money is by expanding and growing too fast. Make sure that you expand at a rate which is acceptable for you. Yeah, I'm not saying that you take all the money out of the business. No, it's understandable. You need to keep as much money in the business as possible. But of course, I also need to understand that it's a business. You're making it to get money out of it, so you can't keep all the money into the business. But expand at a rate which is sensible, one that will enable you actually run the business, make sensible amounts of money, but not grow too fast that you just fail to handle the entire thing. Yeah, just do it gradually. Do it gradually, and then you'll enjoy it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love. Bye-bye.